Have learned how to create a lot of banners in Figma, and we have learned how to create a lot of banners for A/B testing in Figma. Now let's see how to manage all of this, because you can have a question, what do I have to do with all these banners that I create, because it's very difficult to manage them when you have hundreds of different variants of your banners. So we have a tool for this. This is a growth board. Actually, I make it in Trello, and you have this template as well. You have a link to this board. You can copy it to your boards in Trello. If you don't use it, this is very simple. Just create an account and you can use it to manage your creatives. So what is here? This is a Kanban or Scrum board where we have different columns and we have different cards. When we start our testing, when we start some hypothesis, we add it to one of these columns, and then while it gains some data, while it is launched and so on, it goes to the right to success or fail. So this is a board to test hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is, for example, a statement. If we add a beautiful girl to our banners and write that we have discounts on our products, we will gain a better CTR in our advertising campaigns. So you create your banners with this girl with some discount and you test it. And while you are testing it, you move this card from left to the right in these columns. So let's look at these columns closer. Epic. This is column for something that you don't want to test right now, for some things that you want to do in the future and you don't know when. For example, you can add some card that you wanted to test, but something changed and you are not able to test it right now, so you just can put this card into Epic column. Ideas. This is column for ideas. All members of your team or you by yourself write some ideas here in a very abstract way. For example, banners with text, premium musical instruments convert better, something like this. Or banners with a rock girl will gain a high CTR. So it is like this. This is not a hypothesis yet, this is just an idea. And then you form hypothesis from this idea. So if I had an idea banners with text premium musical instruments convert better, it will turn into this. Creatives with the text premium musical instruments will increase conversion rate CR from 5.5% to 7% because they will cut those who look for cheap. So let's pretend that we have a shop of only premium musical instrument, of expensive ones, and we think that if we write premium at our banners, people who want to buy cheap musical instruments will not click and will not come to our website, and we will have a better conversion. And I have some fields over here, description of my hypothesis, the core metric, its conversion rate, historical metric value, it's 5.5%. That means that at my previous campaigns the conversion rate was 5.5, and now I'm waiting for my A/B test, for my experiment to run, and then I will write what did I get into these fields. And after this I will understand if this works or no. So at first I just form a hypothesis. All members of the team move the hypothesis that are believed to be better to this priority column. This is for the case when you have a lot of ideas, a lot of hypotheses, and you understand that you don't have time to test them in this sprint, in this week. Usually I work in a weekly or 2 weekly sprints. This means that I test hypothesis 1 week or 2 weeks. If these are marketing hypotheses, usually it's enough of week to test them. If these hypotheses are more complicated and need more data, you can run them on a 2-week basis. But I prefer you to start with 1 week. So this means that at the beginning of the week we see a hypothesis column and we see, for example, 40 of them. And we understand that it's too much and we want to test maybe 10 at this week, maybe 15. So put the best hypothesis to priority. Each person, each team member decides which of his hypotheses are better to test at this sprint, and they add them to priority. Then you have a meeting, probably it's online, and you vote which of these cards are better to test this week in this sprint. You rank them. So the higher is your card, the more priority it gets. Some cards can go to the next sprint, and probably when you discuss your hypothesis during your meeting, you will add some hypotheses from this column into your current sprint. So let's say that you picked 10 hypotheses, but then you understand that you don't have enough resources to test all of them. You should just rank them over here, and people who will create banners, who will set up your advertising campaigns, will pick them from this column and add to production. So when a card is in this production column, this means that someone is doing things to make it happen, to run this test, to test this hypothesis. After everything is done and the campaign is launched, card goes to data collection column and it lays here until the data is collected. If the data isn't collected for some reason, for example, you stop the campaign forever, you just have to move this card probably to Epic, to fail, or just to delete it if you understand that you will never use it again. But usually I put them into Epic and test them in the future. And finally, when you get your data collected, you put your card either to success or to the fail column. So at our example, we have two hypotheses. One is creatives with the text premium musical instruments will increase conversion rate from 5.5 to 7% because they will cut those who look for cheap results. As you see, there are some additional fields here, and you see that there is for Google, for United Kingdom, and for guitar products. Okay, and this cut is for Facebook, and these are slightly different conversion rates because, as you see in this example, Facebook converts better and its initial conversion rate was 6.3, so we want it to be 8%. Finally, we get results. After each card moved from one column to another, we see that we have conversion rate 8.4% at Google. So we see that it is bigger than 7% that we wanted, and this means that we have a successful hypothesis. And the other one got conversion rate 6.5. This is more than 6.3 that we had before, but it's not 8%. This means that we mark this hypothesis as failed one. Even if we get 7.9%, we still put it into the fail column. So you have to understand that success and fail depends on which goals did you set. So if you had a conversion rate 5.5% and you set a goal to 50%, probably all of your hypotheses will fail because it's not a realistic scenario. And if you put 7%, it's probably okay. So you understand that it's reasonable and you probably can get these results. But if you set your goal to 8% and you didn't gain it, it doesn't mean that this hypothesis is bad. This doesn't mean that your banners, your creatives are bad. You probably can use them, but probably you want to change them a little to get even better results, and you can work with them. You can leave them in campaigns, or you can even scale them up. But this just means that when you predicted your conversion rate, you didn't do it so well, or you did it well, but your banners are just not good enough. And when you get your sprints over and over, you have new and new hypotheses, you will predict better, and you will run hypotheses that actually mean something. So if you say that I want to gain conversion rate 50% after you were getting 5.5, this doesn't make sense. That's why you will put such card into fail, and the next sprint you understand that you won't be able to get such big conversion rate, and probably your goal, your aim will be lower, more reasonable. So this is how these things work. And after you test your hypothesis over and over, you will get all the results here. When you have too many of them, you can create some curve of your cards and move them into another columns. And we have the last column, it's review and retrospective column. I will rename it to review and retrospective. What does it mean and how to use it? If we have a weekly sprint, this means that at the end of each sprint we have a meeting and write down which result do we have, what did we plan, and what did we achieve. So our plan was to test 5 hypotheses, and in fact we tested only 2 of them. One of them is successful, one of them isn't successful. So our success rate is 50%. And we have to write down insights from our sprint. What did we learn? What will we use in the future? We understood that using premium instruments in the banners delivers different results depending on advertising platform. Needs further testing. So it works well for Google, but not so well for Facebook. And this means that we probably have to create some more hypotheses to work this around and to understand actually premium musical instruments. Does it make a real change in the advertising or not? So after this, you will get more and more hypotheses, you will get more and more results, and you will be able to understand what works and what doesn't work. And for example, you have a new team member and you can just show him this board, show him all the successful and failed hypotheses, and he will understand your marketing and your situation much better than if you would tell him this by words. So this is a great tool to test hypotheses, to test a lot of different banners, to test a lot of different creatives, and so on. This is a growth board, and it is designed not only to test creatives. These are steps of the conversion funnel which your leads, which your clients go through when they interact with your company. When we talk about creatives, about banners, we are on the first or maybe on the second steps. So the first one is for awareness, and metrics for these steps are reach, how many people do you reach with your advertising, CTR, these are metrics for applications, services, and so on. So if you sell something online, if you have, for example, an online shop, you have these metrics for your funnel. And acquisition metrics for this step are conversion rate, cost per lead, cost per action, cost per sale, bounce rate. Usually when you test your creatives, they don't affect your conversion rate that much, but they affect CTR in a large scale. This means that most of hypotheses of your banners will have statements. These creatives will increase CTR from 16% to 17% and so on. Sometimes when you design new pages or when your creatives filter out some of your audience or some of unnecessary audience, in this case These creatives influence conversion rate, and you can mark these steps with acquisition step. But most of your banners will affect only CTR, and this means that this is awareness step. There are another steps, but they are not about creatives, they are about site usage, about product quality, about how many people go back to your service, if this is a service, how many money do you earn from each person, and how your users, how your clients recommend your services to other people. So we won't cover all these 4 steps, we will focus on these 2. And as I've said, when you test your creatives, usually you test CTR, so you compare one banners with another banners in the same advertising system, with the same audience, with the same landing page. If you, for example, test different landing pages, you added different text, you added different images on your landing pages, and you want to test which of them converts better. In this case, you can write down an idea, then to form the hypothesis, a landing page with the text A will increase conversion rate from 5% to 6% because it will show our advantages in a better way than it was before. And you test this hypothesis with some A/B testing tool like Google Optimizely, or something like that. This is a very brief and short description, overview of the growth board and of the processes that lay behind it. But it's enough for you to test your banners, to test your creatives. And one more thing about testing banners for Google. As you know, there are a lot of formats over there, especially if you touch regular display ads. And ideally you can run an independent hypothesis for each of the sizes, because as you know, sometimes it happens, and it happens very often, that banners of one size convert better with one text, and banners of other size convert worse. So in this case, you probably want to create an independent hypothesis for each banner size, but this will be very time consuming, and this will be not so easy to manage when you have a lot of creative. So what I suggest is to do it maybe once or twice to understand which ideas work in each format and what to avoid. For example, you will understand that at mobile banners with small formats you don't have to put a lot of text because it is not readable. Actually, this is obvious, but maybe you will have a conclusion after this. If you want to measure all of your banners independently for Google Ads, you probably have to create Google spreadsheet or Excel file, so it would be some kind of table, because it will be very difficult to manage it in this Trello board. So as you understand, if you have 20 banners, you will have 20 separate hypotheses, and if you have different ideas, for example 3 or 4, it will be 100 of cards over here. It will be very time consuming, but after you collect all your data with all your formats, you will understand the general information. Was the hypothesis about premium musical instrument successful or not, and you put this result into this board. So I hope you will use this board to boost your marketing results, and so let's move on.